Today we're diving into a topic that's been stirring up some serious debate: allowing transgender athletes to compete in sports. Alright, let's get into it. So the idea is that to achieve true equality in sports, we should let everyone compete in whatever category they choose, including transgender athletes. Sounds great, right? I mean, who doesn't love a good equality soundbite? Feminists argue that everyone should have equal opportunities, which is totally fair. After all, it's only right that everyone should get a shot at winning those gold medals, right? But wait, when it comes to letting transgender athletes compete in the categories they identify with, we might be opening a can of worms. Let's start with the first hypocrisy: equal opportunities versus fair competition. Because nothing says fair competition like allowing athletes to compete in categories where they might have an advantage, right? Number 1, physical advantages. Feminists push for equal opportunities, but letting transgender women compete against cisgender women could introduce physical advantages that skew fairness. But hey, as long as everyone gets to play, who cares about those pesky details? Number 2, historical context. In sports history, we've seen women fight for their own categories to be recognized. Now, merging categories might just erase decades of progress, but equality is all about breaking down barriers, right? Number 3, competitive balance. Sure, allowing transgender athletes in women's sports might tip the scales, but as long as everyone gets a medal, who's counting? And here's the second hypocrisy: advocating for women's rights versus gender neutrality. Feminists have fought hard to ensure women's sports get their due recognition. So what's a little gender neutrality to throw a wrench in that progress? Number 1, women's achievements. Feminists have always emphasized the importance of separate women's categories to highlight female athletes' accomplishments. So how convenient it is to suddenly advocate for gender-neutral categories that might overshadow those very achievements. Number 2, equality versus equity. Feminists argue for equity, ensuring that women have equal footing. So swapping out categories for a one-size-fits-all approach might be just the way to make sure everyone gets a piece of the pie, even if it means some pieces are bigger than others. And number 3, tradition versus change. The feminist push for women's sports has been about preserving and celebrating women's accomplishments. But hey, who needs suggestion when they're all about that fresh, new equality vibe? So what's the grand takeaway here? Allowing transgender athletes to compete in any category they want is presented as a beacon of equality. But let's be real, this approach could reveal some pretty glaring contradictions in the pursuit of fairness and equality in sports. So I'll leave that for you to discuss. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care of your money.